So Jailton Almeida, as we know, beat Derek Lewis in not a very entertaining fight. Definitely not a barn burner that people are going to remember for years. But he will move up the rankings. He'll probably go to probably like number 7 or something like that. I doubt he's going to get put into the top 10. You know, Derek Lewis was ranked behind him, so probably not going to get ranked too highly. But I was thinking, who would I actually, who would I pick Almeida? Jesus Christ, my English just ain't Englishing right now. Who would I pick Jailton Almeida against in the top 5? Or let's just go top 6, because some of these matchups are very interesting. I want to break down all of them. And this video might be very controversial. I'm not sure. Maybe it won't be too controversial, maybe with the recency bias. But starting off, actually, let's just break down all the guys ahead of Jailton Almeida, so then we can get like a fair playing ground. So first up, we have Tai Tuivasa. I think Tai Tuivasa, tailor-made matchup for Jailton Almeida. I do think he would beat Tai Tuivasa. I think he would probably do the exact same thing that he did to Derek Lewis, except I think he would sub Tai Tuivasa more than likely. Tai Tuivasa obviously beat Derek Lewis, but MMA math doesn't work that way. You know, Tai Tuivasa, I would say defensively on the ground, not as good as Derek Lewis. Takedown defense, you know, his get-ups are alright, but his overall takedown defense isn't the greatest, and his submission defense definitely isn't on Derek Lewis's level. So I do just think he would get Tai Tuivasa down. Probably, I'd say he'd smash him with a ground and pound, but he threw no ground and pound today, so I don't even know if I rate his ground and pound too much. Sort of fucking ground and pounds like he's playing the bongos, you know, like fucking, or playing the drums, like he's just, that's how he's fucking whacking it like he's fucking playing the drums, like, except with a closed fist. Like, I don't know, he has like slapping ground and pound. Obviously his fists are closed, but I don't know, it's weird how he ground and pounds, but I do think Jailton Almeida would beat Tai Tuivasa. You know, he's a stylistically great matchup. He's an overweight guy, you know, Jailton Almeida does great against fat guys. He just loves them. He moved up to heavyweight just to fight all the fatties. Respectfully, I'm not going to say Tai Tuivasa is, you know, compared to like Parker Porter, he's probably he's a bit more in shape, but you know, he's just been fighting a lot of overweight guys and just been taking them all down and beating them up. But I think the trend would continue if he did fight Tai Tuivasa. But moving on, Sergey Spivak. Oh my god, I have to always fight the will not to say Sergey Spivak. He's a great fighter. I'd love to fight him. But this one's actually really interesting. Stylistically, I think this fight would probably stay on the feet. And I actually would go with Jailton Almeida here. I know that might be a crazy take. Obviously, Sergey Spivak beat Derek Lewis much easier than Jailton Almeida did. But I don't know. I just think Almeida does have alright striking. We haven't seen much of it, but he did hurt Derek Lewis on the feet at one moment in this fight with like a head kick. So, you know, Spivak's been chinned quite a few times. He's not the most durable guy. I think Almeida could probably get him out of there on the feet. But obviously, striking's not that tested, but, you know, he's quicker, you know, more athletic. I think he would just be able to probably get him out of there on the feet. But obviously, a lot of this is just basing this on guessing. You know, there's nothing I can really say besides the brief bits of stand-up I've seen in the fight today. But I think, you know, let's just be honest, Sergey Spivak's striking is awful. He's really robotic on the feet, very slow. I think Almeida could just athlete bully him sort of on the feet, much quicker, probably more powerful, probably more technical. You know, he's got, apparently he started with boxing, you know, and he was a welterweight when he first debuted, so he's got like a middleweight skill set. So I think he probably would have the better technical striking than Sergey Spivak probably. So I do think he'd probably get Sergey Spivak out of there on the feet. So yeah, I'd have Jailton Almeida beating Sergey Spivak. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Alexander Volkov. Volkov is a very interesting fight. You know, he's looking really good. He's looking the best he has lately. You know, had a big win over Taito Ivasa in Sydney recently. Before that, beat the absolute shit out of Alexander Romanov. And then before that, beat Jairzinho Rosenstruck. You know, so he's on a 3-fight winning streak, looking really good lately as well. And this might be a really hot take. I think Alexander Volkov is a nightmare matchup for Jailton Almeida. I actually think, and I'm not just saying this because Almeida had a boring fight today, but Volkov's got really good takedown defense, like really solid takedown defense. He's long. You know, he's not. We haven't really seen Jailton deal with a big athletic heavyweight. Like Volkov is actually an athletic guy. He's tall. He's actually in shape. He's an in shape heavyweight. You know, we haven't actually seen Jailton Almeida fight like a in shape heavyweight. I know obviously the guys he's fighting are high ranked and everything, but they're not athletic guys. You know, they're just sort of chubby or fat guys. But Volkov would be the first like non-fat guy he's fought. He's skilled, definitely a better striker than Almeida. I know people are going to say, well, Tom Aspinall just took him down with ease and subbed him. But Tom Aspinall had, you know, he has really good boxing, good head movement. He has something to worry about on the feet. Almeida, while his striking isn't like Ben Askren-esque, you know, it's not Tom Aspinall striking. He wouldn't have to worry as much as he would in that Tom Aspinall fight. You know, Tom Aspinall's got really good head movement as well. That's how he got the takedown. He used his head movement to get the perfect shot. But besides that, we've seen Volkov have really solid takedown defense in all of his fights. And, like, look what he did to Romanov. Just broke him, pretty much. And he stuffed all the takedowns from Marcin Tybura. Like, I don't know. I just think this would be a great matchup for Alexander Volkov, man. Like, this is actually like a really ideal. He does his best work against grapplers. You know, it's more the well-rounded guys or just, you know, Derek Lewis landing a lucky power shot that gets who can beat Volkov. Obviously, Curtis Blades did beat him. That was pre-Swolkov. That was before he bulked up and everything. That was when he was a smaller heavyweight. Like, I don't know. He's got generally some of the best takedown defense. Athletic, powerful. Like I said, he's Swolkov now, so he's literally big. He'll be much bigger than Jailton Almeida. Obviously, we've seen he was still able to take Derek Lewis down and everything, but he wasn't really able to do too much to Derek Lewis. He was top mounted for fuck's sake and couldn't do anything. Another thing that also to add into it, even if Almeida did get him down and top mounted him, that is in the perfect position for the Ezekiel choke that he just got on Taito Ivasa. He could get an Ezekiel choke. Honestly, he's so long. He's got such long limbs that he could get some like freakishly long submission on Jailton Almeida if he did get taken down. And what the fuck is Almeida going to do? Like, generally, I think this would be like a nightmare matchup. I think he could break Jailton Almeida. He's so long as well. Like, he could probably use some long-rangey weapons to get Jailton Almeida. Even though, you know, Almeida will just shoot. If he stuffs some takedowns and just lands some big body kicks, lands some good shots, I think he could actually win this. I think this is a really good matchup for Alexander Volkov. So yeah, I would actually go with Alexander Volkov getting a KO here against Jailton Almeida. You know, not a lot of people know this, but Almeida was chinned before, and he has shown a shaky chin in a lot of his fights that he, like pre-UFC where he got hit. And, you know, we haven't seen him take too many clean shots. I think Volkov could knock him out cold, to be honest. But then moving on, we have the man he was originally meant to face. We have Curtis Razor Blades. You know, this fight, I was really looking forward to this fight. I thought this would have been an interesting challenge for Jailton Almeida. And I'm not just saying this because of the fight with Derek Lewis, but I was generally picking Curtis Blades in this fight, and even more so now after seeing the Lewis fight, I definitely would have gone with Curtis Blades. Much better wrestler than Derek Lewis. I know Derek Lewis did KO him, but like Derek Lewis, that's just Derek Lewis things. He does KO people he shouldn't sometimes. And I don't know if I would be able to see Jailton Almeida just go in there and ragdoll Curtis Blades. I would be shocked if he did that. Curtis Blades, much bigger man, actual wrestler, has a wrestling background. I think the only time he got taken down was when he was really gassed in the later rounds against Alexander Volkov. But I think he would probably KO Jailton Almeida before it got to that. He has really decent hands. You know, Curtis Blades, he really fell in love with his hands a little bit, but he does have some really good hands. Did KO Junior Dos Santos. Obviously, a little bit past his prime, but not completely washed Junior Dos Santos. Didn't need a single takedown in that fight. You know, he's definitely more powerful than Almeida. He's got very good anti-grappling. Uh, you know, and I think that fight would probably be on the feet if we're being honest. Maybe Almeida would keep shooting, but I think if Blades was to keep stuffing them takedowns, I think he would break Almeida a little bit and just put on the pressure and probably knock him out cold. You're gonna probably hear that a lot if I'm being honest, but I would generally go with Curtis Blades, and I hope that fight gets rebooked because I feel like that is probably like a really tough test. And if Almeida was to go and win that, then fucking hell, who knows what the future holds for that guy. But yeah, I would take Curtis Blades. You know, Jailton Almeida, he hasn't really wrestled anybody, like no wrestlers. They've all been strikers pretty much. Like the closest grappler, I mean, I guess he was a grappler, but he wasn't a heavyweight. It was Anton Takali, and he still won that fight, but he faced a little bit more. What's the word I'm looking for? I was going to say struggle. He didn't struggle, but you know, more resistance. He had a bit more resistance against Anton. He still won it clearly. Don't get me wrong. He was still dominant, but Anton is not like a massive light heavyweight or anything. You know, he's like, I think he's fought at middleweight before. I could be wrong on that, but he's not like a massive light heavyweight. He was at like a 220-pound catchweight, so I'd imagine that's as big as Anton probably gets. And, you know, he still went out there, put on a dominant performance, but, you know, Anton showed some resistance. But somebody like Curtis Blades, who's massive, going to have a massive size advantage over Jailton Almeida. You know, Almeida hasn't been able to. The bigger the guys are getting, obviously he did get Rosenstruck, but we're seeing him struggle a little bit more the bigger the guys are getting. And I think Curtis Blades is probably bigger, if we're talking like athletically, bigger than Derek Lewis. Like he's got much better weight, like extra weight than Derek Lewis. You know, Derek Lewis, a bit of a just, obviously he's got muscle, he's more of a fat guy. Curtis Blades is like more built, taller guy, really just massive guy, good sprawls. Wrestling background, like I say, and he's got heavy hands. So yeah, I would go with Curtis Blades getting a KO here. I think he would stuff so many of the takedowns. Almeida would probably come out shooting instantly, probably throw that front kick and shoot, but I just think Blades would stuff it, and then yeah, probably just land some really big shots. But Jailton Almeida said he was going to show his hands in this fight originally when it was Curtis Blades, so maybe he actually was going to go in with a striking game plan. And maybe that's what we see in this fight. And if that is the case, I think Curtis Blades knocks him out. But anyway, moving on. Tom Aspinall. So Tom Aspinall is an interesting matchup. Got good hands. One of the first. I was going to say one of the first. No, that was his dad. But he's a jiu-jitsu black belt. He's got very good jiu-jitsu, very good wrestling. Very, very well rounded. Like I say, very good boxer. Has a boxing record. He's a big heavyweight too, much bigger than Jailton Almeida. Now, this one is interesting because we haven't really seen Tom Aspinall's takedown defense tested in these fights. So, a lot of these will just be guessing, if I'm being honest. But, I think Like I say, we haven't seen his takedown defense tested too much. So maybe he's just like not got the greatest takedown defense, but who knows? I did see a fight where, I mean, obviously he did get subbed with a heel hook, but he was literally beating the shit out of Stuart Austin. So it doesn't really say too much. You know, I think Tom Aspinall beats him. Alright, I'm going to go Tom Aspinall here. I think Tom Aspinall would beat Jailton Almeida. I don't think he'd be able to just ragdoll him. And even if he did, you know, Tom Aspinall's very strong. He's got very good reversals. And I think he would probably be able to reverse Jailton Almeida because he does have a bit more of a grappling pedigree than Derek Lewis would. Maybe not as physically strong, but still a very strong guy, in shape guy as well. Fast guy, very quick. Maybe his footwork, Almeida wouldn't even be able to get to him. But yeah, I think I would take Tom Aspinall here. And you've heard it once, you've heard it twice, and you're going to hear it a third time. I think he would knock Jailton Almeida out cold. Uh, yeah, I generally I think he would put it on him. I think he stuff some of the takedowns, probably use his footwork, tire maybe pressure and tire out Jailton Almeida a bit, and then just KO him with like a quick 1-2. Very powerful is Tom Aspinall, and I think he could get him out of there really early. So yeah, I'd go Tom Aspinall by KO in this fight if he was to fight Jailton Almeida. Then moving on, we have Stipe Miocic. Stipe, much older at this point in his career, but still had very good anti-wrestling. Obviously, did get taken down a few times by DC, but obviously DC, one of the all-time greats. Very good wrestler, light heavyweight skill set. And I think we realized that, DC much better wrestler, much better grappler than Jailton Almeida. Obviously, MMA math doesn't work, but he did just sort of like fucking run through Derek Lewis a lot better than uh, Jailton Almeida. Oh, I apologize. It's almost time for bed. Uh, yeah, like I said, Jailton Almeida almost did. Didn't come close to putting on the performance DC did, but MMA math doesn't work that way. But I would say it's not a crazy thing to say DC much better grappler, also had a much better striking game than Jailton Almeida. Like, can really round it out a bit more. And we've seen what he did to Derek Lewis. We did like the reason I'm bringing this all up, by the way, just so it doesn't sound like I'm an old man talking about random shit. I'm bringing this up because obviously Stipe did get taken down and ragdolled a little bit in that second DC Stipe fight, in the second Cormier fight. But at the end of the day, he ended up winning that fight. Didn't get subbed, never been subbed in his career. Obviously, did get taken down, but I think he would probably mix up some body shots. Obviously, the one thing here is he is a similar size than Jailton Almeida. I did hear that he is apparently like 265 at the moment, but not quite sure how true that is, or if that's good weight or bad weight or not. But I think that would make it a bit more interesting if it is like a muscle bound Stipe, if you can just push Jailton off him. But I actually, just at this point in his, I don't know, man. Wait, let me check. Like, a lot of people shit on Stipe for his like second Ngannou fight, but like at the end of the day, it's fucking Francis Ngannou. He's like, he's just a fucking big unit. Like, I don't know. People really don't rate Stipe anymore because of the fucking Ngannou fight. And then Ngannou got it down. I think it was like a sprawl reversal. Fuck. I'm gonna go Stipe out. Oh, am I? I don't know. This is one of the tougher ones. Because like, is Stipe really the same fighter? He's so much older. He's probably not as athletic. Oh, yeah, sure. I might actually go Jailton Almeida. I think he might be able to beat Stipe Miocic. Maybe just pound him out. Maybe decision him. Just because I don't know if he'd be athletic enough to stuff the takedowns at this point. Like, I think he would be able to stop the takedowns, but like, Jailton is so much more athletic, and Stipe is one of the one guys who is like a similar size to him. Wow, man, this is generally one of the tougher ones I've had to talk about. But you know what? I would go. How many takedowns did DC get on Stipe? Let me just check that. He got 1 out of 3. Okay, I know. I'm sorry. This is taking a while to get this pick. I'm gonna say, fuck, man. This is actually a generally hard one. You know what? I'm gonna go Stipe. I think Stipe can catch him. You know, even if Jailton does keep taking him down, he's got very good submission defense. I don't think he'd be able to sub Stipe. And I think eventually Jailton will probably slow down a little bit. And I don't think he's like Derek Lewis. I don't think he would give up in there. I think he would be able to just like break him a little bit, especially with the boxing heavy style. He doesn't use too many kicks, so he's not going to go out there and throw a kick and get caught. Like his kick's not going to get caught, and he's not going to get mauled that way. So I would go Stipe Miocic in this fight. I think he would be able to KO Jailton Almeida. But yeah, sorry that one took so long. I had to really think about that one. Okay, then we have Sergey Pavlovich. All right, this one's an interesting one because we only seen one takedown from Curtis Blades on Sergey Pavlovich, and obviously people always bring up that Alistair Overeem fight where he did just sort of maul Sergey Pavlovich. But that was in 2018. That was years ago. Like a lot changes in that 5 years. Especially that was a much different Sergey, much younger as well. He's matured. He's gotten bigger as well. He's much bigger now. And he's like a muscly guy as well. He's not like a completely fat heavyweight. Like he just looks like he'd be a strong guy. Has a Greco-Roman background, has a wrestling background. Like I said, did stuff the one takedown that Blades did shoot. I would go Sergey Pavlovich here. You've heard it once, you've heard it twice, you've heard it 3 times, and now you're going to hear it a 4th time. I think he would knock Jailton Almeida out cold. Like I generally do. I think he's just so powerful, so much longer as well. Boxing heavy. I think boxing heavy fighters will do really well against Jailton Almeida, especially in like longer rounds, like in later rounds. I can just see Jailton gassing a little bit. And when you're not throwing kicks at someone, when you're throwing, boxing combinations and stuff like that, it's going to be harder to get them takedowns. Especially with the way Sergey Pavlovich fights, he has a pretty tight guard for a heavyweight, and he's so much longer. Like his reach is so long. I could just see him, sort of maybe pressing Jailton up against the fence a little bit, pressuring him, not giving Jailton any space to shoot any takedowns, and then I think he would just unleash some hellish combos and probably knock Jailton Almeida out cold. So that's how I would see that fight. I don't think it would be a threat on the feet either. We did see Sergey Pavlovich ate a fucking flush overhand from Taito Ivasa, so we know he's got a good chin. Obviously got ground and pounded out by Overeem, but years ago. I think he's a completely different fighter now. So powerful, long fighter, massive, one of the biggest heavyweights. And like I say, Almeida, a very undersized heavyweight. So I think I would go Sergey Pavlovich. I think he would be able to sprawl. He did show good sprawls against uh, not Alistair Overeem, sorry, Curtis Blades. And a lot of people bring up that Overeem fight. Like a lot of people were picking Blades because of that Overeem fight. But when you look at that fight, man, it was a trip. It was a Muay Thai trip. He got Sergey Pavlovich down with. It wasn't a shot. It wasn't a single. It wasn't a double. It was a Muay Thai trip. Much different Thai style of grappling that Curtis Blades had, and definitely much different style than Jailton Almeida has. He's just got a heavy double. Very powerful, very strong, explosive takedowns, but completely different to trips. He doesn't use trips. He doesn't have a Muay Thai background to use his Muay Thai trips. So I think we would see Sergey Pavlovich probably like stuff the shots, probably literally fucking sprawl them, get back up. I think he'd probably unleash like a hellish fucking uppercut and just unload on fucking Jailton Almeida and knock him out cold. That's how I would have that fight going. And then moving on, we have Bongamin Cyril Gane. This one's very interesting, honestly, because he's Cyril Gane looked really good against Sergey Spivak, but he is much slower. And then obviously before that got taken down by John Jones, easily got subbed by him, got taken down by Ngannou. I think this is honestly one of Almeida's better matchups. Maybe Cyril Gane can sort of use his footwork like he did against Sergey Spivak, just sort of beat the shit out of Almeida in like a masterclass type performance. Sort of like the exact same. But the thing is, Almeida much quicker, Spivak much faster, much more athletic, much quicker. And I honestly, I think he would maul Cyril Gane. To be honest, I know people are going to say, "Well, we just seen, Sergey Spivak couldn't do that to him." But like at the end of the day, man, Sergey Spivak very slow, not the most athletic heavyweight, like very slow. I just think completely different stylistic matchup. Almeida is just like I think he might be too quick and too athletic. I think he would just get a hold of Cyril Gane and it'd probably be over there. I could see him just pounding him out with ground and pound or subbing him, like just getting his neck and subbing him like really quickly. I generally could because he is very explosive with his takedowns, completely different. Sergey Spivak doesn't really shoot for singles. He does trips and everything, complete different style. Honestly, Jailton Almeida nightmare matchup for Cyril Gane in my opinion. So I would go Jailton Almeida by submission against Cyril Gane, and then we have the current champion, Johnny Bones Jones. Now, this one is interesting because we haven't seen John Jones's takedown defense tested at heavyweight. Like, who knows, man? Who fucking knows? John Jones could have no takedown defense at heavyweight. These guys could be too strong for him. I doubt that is the case, but you do never know. But at the same time, Jailton Almeida is probably going to be smaller than John Jones here. John Jones bulked up pretty well. Uh, and plus, at the same time, Jailton made a light heavyweight, former middleweight, former welterweight. John Jones, he's used to fighting guys this size. He's used to fighting these guys at the light heavyweight division with that sort of skill set. So this is something he has seen before. Obviously, he hasn't seen someone with the one-dimensional grappling style of Jailton Almeida. But I don't know, this one's interesting because, like I say, we haven't seen much of John Jones at heavyweight. There's so many questions. We don't know what his cardio is like at heavyweight, or any of that stuff. But at the end of the day, it is fucking John Jones. He always finds a way to fucking win these fights, and I don't know if it's just a pure stand-up fight between these two. You got to go with John Jones. He looked a bit sloppy in that Cyril Gane fight. Like he didn't look. I know he won that fight dominantly, but on the feet he was looking a bit weird, in my opinion. Wasn't looking. Obviously, the guy's bulked up, but he's looking a lot slower. Wasn't looking as technical. Obviously, there wasn't much to go off, so maybe I'm just completely wrong on this. But like I say, looked a lot slower, not as fluid as he once was. Obviously, age and size now, maybe that's got a reason to do with it. But generally, I would go with John Jones here. But I think he'd get a decision. Or maybe a ground and pound TKO. I don't think he would knock Almeida out cold. I just think he would be able to reverse the takedowns. Got a Greco-Roman, good with his reversals. Obviously, he has been taken down by Alexander Gustafsson, but that was just because of the boxing threat and everything. Not a boxer, though, so maybe the striking could be a bit different because John Jones does use a lot of kicks, so maybe he'd leave himself open to takedowns from Jailton Almeida for his spinning elbows, but his boxing has always been the weakest part of his game, in my opinion. So it is actually interesting. I would actually put this as one of his closer matchups. As crazy as that might sound, because a lot of people act like John Jones is invincible and can't fucking lose. But I actually think this is probably a tougher matchup than people realize. But at the end of the day, I still would go with John Jones, like I said. Just think he'd be able to reverse, maybe get on top, land some good ground and pound, kick at range. He's still much longer. He's got pretty good takedown defense. He's a strong guy. So I still would go with John Jones here, but it would be one of his closer matchups. Jailton got a boxing background. Who knows? If it stays standing and it's just a striking match, maybe Jailton can box him up a little bit. Longer guy as well. You never know. We don't know much about Jailton's boxing or his striking. We just know that was his first base, was the boxing. So maybe he can actually get something done with the hands, but I'm not going to bank on that. We just don't know too much. We know a lot about John Jones, though. So yeah, I would just have to go with John Jones, just based on what we do know out of Almeida's game. I don't know if that one-dimensional grappling, front kick takedown would work. John Jones would fucking see that shit coming from a mile away. I'd imagine he'd be strong enough to just be able to manhandle Almeida. He's probably one of the only people strong, has the same strength obviously, he couldn't get Dominic Reyes down, but Reyes does have solid takedown defense. One of the best parts of Reyes' game, but I don't know. Interesting, though. I think this would actually be an interesting fight. We'll never see it, though. John Jones is probably going to retire after him and Stipe gets rebooked sometime next year, which is unfortunate, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is one of his more interesting matchups, but I still would go with John Jones. So looking at it, I only have Almeida beating Cyril Gahn, and then obviously the Spivak and Taito Ivasa outside the top six. Maybe this is a hot take. I'm not sure. It doesn't just have to do with Derek Lewis's performance, like not getting subbed or anything. I thought this for a while. Almeida's gonna run into a wall, which is going to be one of these bigger heavyweight guys. Obviously, Lewis is a big heavyweight. Judging Rosenstruck is too, but neither of them are grapplers. They don't have the greatest takedown defense. Obviously, Derek Lewis has the just get back up technique, but at the end of the day, he still does get taken down. These other guys have solid takedown defense, more athletic in my opinion. Most of them guys are. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like if he wants to be champion, light heavyweight is better for him. But who knows? If he can go out there and ragdoll these guys, then fucking, well, it just shows that maybe some more middleweights and light heavyweights should just fucking bulk up and go up to heavyweight, because that just seems to be the easy way to get ranked. Because yeah, if you're remotely athletic, you're going out there and you're fucking destroying people in that heavyweight division. But that's all I've got to say, man. I don't think Jailton Almeida is going to do much better against these heavyweights. I think, plus they're all figuring out his game a little bit. I think he is eventually going to run into one of these nightmare matchups. Like, he has to. He's going to have to fight one of these tougher matchups next. Maybe he gets the Cyril Gahn fight he wanted, and I think he would win that. But, Cyril Gahn, he's going to be tricky with the footwork. He might be able to, just keep him off him and just beat the shit out of him like he did Spivak, but I have my doubts. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I don't know why he ever chose to stay at heavyweight. I mean, he's probably making great money. Heavyweights, I'm pretty sure, get paid more, so he's probably made a bank just to beat up all these fatties. But yeah, I don't know. I think his fatty beating days are going to be over soon. I think one of these heavyweights is going to get him, depending on who they give him next. But who knows? Maybe we'll see more of the striking or something, and it'll be like, oh, fuck, this guy's actually really well-rounded. Like they say, he did start with boxing, but I don't know. I have my doubts, man. I do. I just have my doubts, but they say hindsight's 20/20. Who knows? Maybe I'm completely wrong. And Jailton Almeida we're talking about him as the greatest of all time after fucking decapitating John Jones with a 1-2, and then just destroying every other heavyweight. But I don't know. You never know. But hey, eventually we might find out. I hope they rebook the Curtis Blades fight, though. I think that's a good matchup. And if he can just ragdoll Blade, then he probably is just gonna fucking do this to everyone, if we're being honest. But we'll see what happens, man. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. If you made it this far into the video, make sure you give this video a like. And I want to hear how you would have Jailton Almeida doing against these other heavyweights. Who do you think his good matchups are? Who do you think he would beat? Who do you think he would lose to? Do you think he's a future champion? Just let me know all your thoughts on Jailton Almeida and his future at heavyweight. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.